Hounds of Love is a movie that is going to instantly polarise the community, or the film going community, because of its subject matter. It is about a couple in Australia who are just not very nice people. They ritualistically pick up young girls, teenage girls, keep them for the weekend, abuse, rape, torture, and then dispose of the bodies. And then this begins all over again. But that brief summary doesn't tell you everything about the movie. And if you miss out on this movie simply because of the subject matter, you're missing out on a terrific movie full of amazing performances. So at the start we meet Evelyn and John, the two serial killer couples, and it's plain to see that they're not 100% there. You have John, who is extremely domineering, who seems to be the lead person who's driving along this sort of terror that they're doing, and then we have Evelyn, who wants to kind of please John and make sure everything's right for him, but just isn't 100% great with what's happening, but doesn't really know how to fight back against it, or isn't sure if she wants to at a certain point. She wants to keep enabling John so that he requires her. And it's this kind of aspect of the movie that's probably the most kind of daunting, because it gives you a real insight into these characters. It doesn't just make them out to be black and white, these are bad guys, these are bad people. It gives them some characteristics. It shows John outside of the house, where he is kind of picked up on by other people. He is meek, mild-mannered, that kind of thing. Inside the house, he is extremely domineering and leering over these women and kind of just dominating them. Evelyn's character, who really just wants to get her two kids back. They've been taken off her because she is quite clearly unstable, and she is doing these things for John out of what she thinks is love, but is more really just a fear of being alone and having nobody to look after her. Then we meet Vicky's character. Vicky's like a 16, 17-year-old character who sneaks out of her home. She comes from like a divorcing parents, currently divorced, and she's living with her mum that night. She sneaks out to go to a party. She meets up with this couple who offer her a ride. She's unsure about it, but it's night time. There's some unsavoury characters about. There's a baby seat in the back of the car. Evelyn is doing all the talking. She jumps in, and before she knows it, she's chained to a bed, not sure what's happening, as her parents are trying to convince the police that she has vanished. This is a movie all about the psychological torture of the women in this. You get ones that are just captured and beat down, but then you have this sort of domestic violence aptitude of it, as well as Evelyn's constantly domineered and made to do things. But she is not innocent. She is quite complicit in what's happening here. You have this really unbelievably tense and atmospheric movie where it doesn't really show you anything graphic going on at all. When things happen, they'll sort of close a door as it slowly zooms out and the score raises up, and you know that something bad's going on there. And the fact that it does that shows some real talent in the direction. It doesn't need to shock you with the gore. It lets you play things out in your imagination, which is always going to be far worse than what you're seeing on the screen. You really feel for Vicki. You understand the sort of pain that she's in, because you can kind of see it in her actions. You can see her trying to work out a way to get out of this place, trying to talk differently to each of the two parties to try and turn them against one another. It is so interesting, so well done. There's all these little nuances within the movie that just make it better. The fact that every time they enter the house, they always take their shoes off and just make sure that they're sitting almost OCD perfectly on this little stand. It's little touches like this. But it's the really rich characters, and even though the story gets a little bit formulaic near the end as they try to get to save Vicki, which I won't spoil whether that happens or not, the movie's just got you. It's so engrossed in these characters which are fully fleshed out, and it's something that usually doesn't happen in these kind of movies. These are characters that we may not like, but we can kind of understand how they got to that place in their life and why they seem to think that what they're doing is perfectly fine. They're despicable people. This is a really tense, really thrilling, kind of horrific shot movie. I gave Hounds of Love 4 out of 5. There's a couple of tropey things that I wasn't too keen on about it, but most of the movie had me hooked, captivated, terrified for Vicki, despising the lead characters, feeling sorry for them on occasions, which is, how do you feel sorry for a serial killer couple who do these horrific things? But this movie makes you feel that way. It's terrifically done. It's out in limited release in the cinema, and I urge you to go and check it out. It's the kind of thing it deserves to be seen, especially unflinchingly in a cinema where you can't really escape the visual and sound elements of this movie as it just berates you with this tension, this atmosphere. Hounds of Love, fantastic movie. Please go and check it out. I think you're going to really like it. Don't let the subject matter put you off. If you have seen it, let me know in the comment box what you thought of this movie. I am really curious to see what somebody else's opinion is. And I'll see you next time on Man vs. Film.